In April 2026, Rex Heuermann walked into a courtroom and pleaded guilty to 8 murders. But while that confession finally closed a legal chapter, the actual timeline of his crimes stretches back much further, all the way to 1993. The public investigation began years later, in December 2010. A police K-9 unit running a training exercise along Ocean Parkway near Gilgo Beach stumbled upon human remains wrapped in burlap. Within days, 3 more victims were found along the exact same stretch of coastal highway. While investigators scoured the brush, the man responsible was sitting in an office in Midtown Manhattan. Heuermann was an architectural consultant. Colleagues described him as organized, knowledgeable, and friendly. Yet every evening he took the train back to Massapequa Park, returning to a heavily cluttered, deteriorating house that his neighbors considered an eyesore. 30 years passed between his first known murder and his arrest. Throughout that entire period, not a single person in his professional world or his own family detected a thing. He built an invisible, parallel life, right out in the open. When forensic teams finally dismantled his home, they pulled 58 hard drives and 27 computers from the property. Deep inside the deleted space of one of those drives, they recovered a Microsoft Word document created in the year 2000. This document functioned as an explicit architectural blueprint for murder. It was organized into meticulous sections like cutting tools and body prep. Under a section outlining how to rig drop cloths from the basement ceiling, he left himself a stark, practical note: sound travels. Because he analyzed his own failure points, this file tracked his iterations over time. After a restraint broke under stress during a previous crime, he updated his engineering specifications with an instruction to use a heavier rope next time. He applied this same logistical coldness to his family's schedule. He closely monitored their travel records, waiting until they were out of town so the basement would be entirely his. Meanwhile, he studied the very people hunting him, keeping a copy of an FBI behavioral profiling textbook in the house. Heuermann designed a compartmentalized system for killing. He built it to withstand the load of investigative pressure, treating murder as an engineering problem that could be optimized. By 2022, a new Gilgo Beach task force was formed to apply modern data analysis to thousands of physical, dusty case files. Hidden inside those archives was a 13-year-old witness statement from a victim's roommate. The roommate recalled the man who picked her up drove a dark pickup truck with a highly specific feature: a distinctive triangular brace between the cab and the bed. Investigators pulled vehicle registration databases for Long Island and matched that exact geometric feature to a first-generation Chevrolet Avalanche. Rex Heuermann owned that exact model. After decades of meticulous digital planning and architectural isolation, his defense fractured. An analog variable he couldn't control, a brief visual memory, gave investigators the name they needed. With a target in mind, the task force mapped his historical cell tower data, uncovering a dark pattern. For 5 weeks, someone used a burner phone to call a victim's grieving teenage sister, taunting her with graphic details from highly congested areas of Midtown Manhattan. The caller understood telecom tracing. Every single call was kept under 3 minutes to prevent a lock on his location, but he failed to account for network redundancy. While he carefully managed the burner phone, he kept his personal cell phone right in his pocket. This animation visualizes the critical error investigators found in his logs: 2 distinct data streams moving across the grid. The data showed his personal phone and the burner phone locking on to the exact same cell tower radii at the exact same intervals. This overlap occurred every single time a taunting call was made. It happened again when the burner phone was used to search for updates on the investigation. The statistical pattern was flawless. To confirm the connection without alerting him, investigators needed physical DNA. They placed him under surveillance, following him from his Fifth Avenue office until he threw a leftover pizza box into a public sidewalk trash can. The crime lab extracted his DNA from the discarded pizza crust. It was a perfect match to a single, degraded male hair recovered years earlier from the base of the burlap used to restrain a victim. Then, forensic testing revealed a second, deeply disturbing connection. Looking at this visual breakdown of cross-contamination, you can see how ambient particles transfer between environments. The lab identified female hairs on multiple victims, but the DNA didn't belong to the women who were killed. The DNA matched Heuermann's wife and daughter. They had absolutely no involvement in the crimes. Because he used their family home as a staging ground, hair from the floors and furniture, the ambient, invisible trace of their daily lives, transferred onto the bodies of women brought into the basement. Heuermann went to extreme lengths to isolate his environment and control the physical space. In the end, he was betrayed by microscopic transfer he couldn't see, sweep up, or delete. The architecture of his double life finally collapsed in April of 2026. Inside a Suffolk County courtroom, he methodically admitted to all 8 murders. The damage he caused extends deeply into his own home. His ex-wife, totally unaware of the violence that occurred beneath her feet, remains physically trapped living inside the house where he operated, unable to afford moving anywhere else. Under the terms of his plea agreement, he accepted multiple consecutive life sentences, but he is not required to explain the specific mechanics of his basement, nor why he chose those 8 women. The families have an admission of guilt, but the profound silence surrounding his motives remains. The task force is still scanning decades of unsolved cases along the coastal highway corridor, searching for his distinct methods of concealment. A person can successfully hide profound violence inside the structure of an ordinary life, but as forensic science advances, the hidden failure points of their design will inevitably collapse under the weight of their own microscopic and digital data.